Kelly Bates was born in 1979 in Manchester, England. Kelly was said to be a lovable and independent girl. Before she was brutally murdered in Manchester on the 16th of April 1996, aged just 17. In the run-up to Kelly's death, she was tortured over a period of at least 4 weeks, suffering horrific injuries inflicted by her partner, James Patterson Smith, who was 48, a man 31 years her senior. The murder inquiry was led by Detective Sergeant Joseph Monaghan of Greater Manchester Police, who said, "I have been in the police force for 15 years and have never seen a case as horrific as this." William Lawler, the pathologist who examined Kelly's body, described her injuries as the worst he had seen on a murder victim. Smith, a misogynist with a history of violence and torture against former lovers, denied murdering Kelly but was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment on November 19, 1997. James Smith was an unemployed divorcee, living in Gorton, Manchester. His marriage had ended after 10 years in 1980, due to his violence towards his wife. Smith was described by acquaintances as house-proud and well-groomed. He did not drink alcohol, and was a non-smoker. After the end of his marriage, Smith had an affair between 1980 and 1982, with 20-year-old Tina Watson, whom he reportedly used as a punch bag, even subjecting her to severe beatings while she was pregnant with his child. Watson managed to escape from the relationship, during which Smith had also attempted to drown her while she was bathing. In 1982, Smith then began a relationship with a 15-year-old girl, Wendy Mottershead, who was also a victim of his violence. In one attack, he held her head under water in the kitchen sink in an attempt to drown her. In 1993, Smith began another relationship with Kelly Bates, when she was only 14 years old. Kelly had met him while she was babysitting for his friends, and he offered to walk her home to keep her safe. Smith was 48 years old and only 1 year older than her dad. Approximately 2 years later, when she left school, Kelly moved in with Smith at his home in Finival Road. She had concealed the relationship from her parents, but once Kelly's mom and dad finally met him, her mom said, "As soon as I saw Smith, the hairs on the back of my neck went up. I tried everything I could to get Kelly away from him. He was much older than I expected. I vividly recall seeing our bread knife in the kitchen, and wanting to pick it up and stab him in the back. It was a bizarre thought. I would never normally think of anything so violent, and now I wonder whether it was some sort of sixth sense. Looking back, it's my greatest regret that I didn't kill him there and then. It would have saved my daughter's life." Kelly's mom, Margaret, had alerted police and social services, but they were powerless to intervene as she was 16. She was told to make an appointment with Kelly's GP to discuss her concerns, so that when Kelly went there, they could try and talk to her. No matter who Margaret went to, no one could help as Kelly was classed as an adult. Margaret pleaded with her daughter to return home, but Kelly refused. Although Kelly had left Smith briefly because of arguments in November of 1995, she was once more living with him in Finival Road. Her parents had noticed bruising which Kelly explained away as the results of different accidents. She became increasingly withdrawn, and in December 1995, resigned from her part-time job. In March 1996, her parents received cards from Kelly for their anniversary and a birthday, although Smith had written them. When Kelly's brother tried to see her at the house, Smith said she was not at home. When a concerned neighbor asked after her, she was briefly shown to them from an upstairs window. He had gained full control. Only 1 month later, on April 17, 1996, Smith presented at a police station and said that he had accidentally killed his girlfriend during an argument in the bath, claiming that she had inhaled bathwater and died despite his attempts to resuscitate her. Police attended Smith's address and found Kelly's naked body in a bedroom. Her blood was found in every room of the house, and a post-mortem examination revealed over 150 separate injuries on her body. During the last month of her life, she had been kept bound in the house, sometimes tied by her hair to radiators or chairs, and at other times with a ligature around her neck. William Muller, the Home Office pathologist who examined her body, said, "In my career, I have examined almost 600 victims of homicide, but I have never come across injuries so extensive." The extensive list of injuries included scalding to her buttocks and left leg, and burns on her thigh caused by the application of a hot iron. A fractured arm. Multiple stab wounds caused by knives, forks and scissors, and stab wounds inside her mouth. Crush injuries to both hands. Mutilation of her ears, nose, eyebrows, mouth, lips and genitalia, as well as wounds caused by a spade and pruning shears. Both eyes had been gouged out while Kelly was still alive, and stab wounds were found in the empty eye sockets. And finally, partial scalping. The pathologist determined that her eyes had been removed not less than 5 days and not more than 3 weeks before her death. She had been starved, losing around 20 kilograms in weight, and had not received water for several days before her death. Peter Openshaw, the prosecutor in Smith's trial, said, "It was as if he deliberately disfigured her, causing her the utmost pain, distress, and degradation. The injuries were not the result of one sudden eruption of violence. They must have been caused over a long period and were so extensive and so terrible that the defendant must have deliberately and systematically tortured the girl. The cause of death was drowning, immediately prior to which she had been beaten about the head with a shower head." Openshaw said, "Her death must have been a merciful end to her torment." At trial, Smith denied murder and claimed that Kelly would put him through hell, winding him up. He also claimed that Kelly had taunted him about his dead mother, and had a bad habit of hurting herself to make it look worse on him. When asked to explain why he had blinded, stabbed, and battered Kelly, he said she had dared him to do it, challenging him to do her harm. A jury at Manchester Crown Court took only 1 hour to find Smith guilty of Kelly's murder, sentencing him to life imprisonment. The judge, Mr. Justice Sachs, recommended that Smith should serve a minimum term of 20 years. He stated, "This has been a terrible case, a catalogue of depravity by one human being upon another. You are a highly dangerous person. You are an abuser of women, and I intend, so far as it is in my power, that you will abuse no more." The jury was provided with professional counseling to help them deal with the distress of seeing the photographs of Kelly's injuries and the sickening violence of the case. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this, and hit the bell icon, and we'll let you know every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.